Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Guys, today I have got a pretty jam-packed episode. I have a finished object. I have a whip that is likely to be done next week. It is just so close to being finished. I have 2 new cast-ons and 2 cast-ons that are planned within the next week, as well as another whip that I'm not sure I'm going to be showing every week, but we'll see. We'll discuss that when we get there. All right, let's start out with what I'm wearing. And this sweater wasn't the first garment I made. I made a few more garments, but this was one of the first long-sleeved pullovers I ever made. And this is, I'm going to tell you the name of this pattern and you're going to go, what you talking about, right? Or for those of you, I'm going to age myself real quick, right? And see if anybody knows what this is from. What you talking about, Willis? Right? So let me know if y'all remember the sitcom that was from. It was so cute. You know, the little guy, Gary Coleman was in it. That'll be a clue. He was so cute, and he would say it oh so much better than I did, of course. But when I tell you this, it's going to kind of be your reaction because this is the ranunculus. It is not the viral, just crazily popular ranunculus by Midori Hirose. I have a couple of those, but this one is by Barocco. I think it's by Barocco Studios. Barocco Yarns website, it has it. It's a free pattern. And I found this pattern. I honestly don't remember how I ended up finding this pattern. This was back from, we did a girls' trip to Minneapolis, and that was in, I don't know, 2022, 2023, somewhere around there. So it's been several years now, and I bought this yarn at one of the yarn shops there. It was Muse 2320, and this is just a plain superwash, but she has just stunning colorways. And I did not switch, you know, alternate rows or skeins or anything. I don't do that. I'm okay with color pooling. And you can see this didn't really pool. It's just beautifully dyed yarn. And then I did this beautiful fall kind of, you know, orangey, not really orangey, but it's just a very autumnal color. So this beautiful reddish, kind of looks like the leaves turning colors. And then this was a variegated that I used. Now, I'm going to throw a picture up here of the ranunculus by Barocco because it looks very different. The patterning here is much more pronounced and has much more of a real pattern in this yoke design, in this color work. I did not really know what I was doing back then, where I wanted to do color work and I wanted to use a solid yarn and a variegated yarn. I didn't understand how they work together, and this variegated yarn has this color in it. So in the parts you can see, and let me move a little bit closer, you can see where it just kind of blends in. And so you don't get as much of the actual patterning. But I love this sweater, and every time I wear it, I get so many comments on it and so many compliments. I like it. I might eventually make another one and do one with 2 actually different contrasting yarns to where that it will look better, or maybe do a really light background and do a variegated yarn that would do the color changing. But for now, I was so proud of this because it was one of the very first color work sweaters I ever did. I did not know what I was doing, but I figured it out, and it's really, really comfortable. It is superwash, so it's grown. I did make this when I was much heavier than I am now, so it is a much more oversized than maybe it calls for. But I do truly love this sweater. I love this yarn. I have some other yarn of hers in my stash, and it's just a lovely, lovely yarn, and she is a wonderful dyer. She does have a shop, an actual brick and mortar in the Minneapolis area. I'm not sure exactly where, but I don't remember if it's in St. Paul or if it's in Minneapolis, if it's downtown. I don't think it's right downtown. I just don't remember. It was a really cool little studio. And I actually have some in my stash that didn't have a colorway name because it was hanging up to dry and I fell in love with it. And she's like, it doesn't even have a name. And my response was, I don't care. I really need that yarn. So I ran across it the other day whenever I put it in my stash, and there's just no colorway to it. It's just beautiful. So if you get a chance to check out Muse 2320, her yarns are definitely worth looking at. They're just absolutely stunning. All right. I told y'all I have a finished object, and let me tell you guys, it is a triumph, and it is an example of what happens when you continue to persevere, because I was determined this baby blanket was not going to beat me. It was not. And so now I have had a triumph over the baby blanket. It is done. It is, I mean, it's not like a huge blanket, but it is great for putting over the car seat, putting in the stroller. So it'll be a nice little blanket that they can grab and go with. And hopefully the baby will really enjoy it. It's nice and squishy and soft and fluffy. And hopefully the baby will really enjoy it. And it will become like Linus with it across the back and just walking around as she learns to walk. So it is done. I will be honest, as much as I love this pattern, it is absolutely stunning. By the end of this, I was like, I hate this pattern. I want this pattern to go away. I'm done with this. Part of that is because I wasn't able to just pick it up and work on it as I wanted to. I was on a deadline because I need to get this in the mail. So I think that when I knit it again, and I will be knitting this again because I want to do another one, another baby blanket to have on hand. And I'm probably going to do several, maybe not all this same pattern. But I do want to do one more of this pattern in a different color. And I think it'll be more enjoyable whenever I'm not on a tight deadline of I really need to get this off the needles. So I was kind of done with it by the time I got done. But this is the Brae Winds blanket by Lily Lake Knits. And it is just stunning. And it looks so complex and it looks so hard, but it's truly not. It is a 4-row little repeat to make one of these. And this really does remind me kind of the field sweater. It wasn't as hard to knit as the field sweater. I've done the field tee. And these little things, there's a 4-row repeat to make this little patterning right here. And so you do like you knit, and then there's this special knit that you do in the stitch on either side of that center stitch, and then going back you slip those, and then going back you actually do a little bit of cabling. It's really easy to do without a cable needle, so I didn't use a cable needle on these, and so that made it go quicker. And it was knit on a size US 8, which I believe is a 6mm needle. That went really quick as well. This is a nice thick worsted Aran weight yarn. It's Pound of Love by Lines, is it Lines brand? I think Pound of Love is Lines brand. And it's Pound of Love. And I used maybe 3/4 of the ball of yarn. So I have enough that I can make a smaller blanket out of it. Maybe even one this size. But this will be in the mail. I've got to get it washed. I've got to wash the little dress that goes with it as well. I will get these things washed. They will get packaged up, and hopefully they will be in the mail, shooting off to Massachusetts within the next few days. So hopefully no later than Monday of next week, these will be in the mail. And Lilia Grace will have a new blanket and a new little sweater dress, and she will still have plenty of time in Massachusetts to wear it. It's not like here. Although here today, I'll tell you, yes, I'm in the southern United States. I'm in Arkansas. And the day started out in the 60s. And it is 50 degrees now. It said it was going to get up to 71. I'm telling you, it did not get up to 71. Got up to about 60, and then it started dropping. My best friend Michelle came to visit today. And we hung out this afternoon. And she and I went out to lunch. We went out and picked up lunch. And sorry, I'm getting a phone call, so it showed up on my watch. But we went out to grab lunch, and it was so cold. I was really happy that I'd thrown on a sweatshirt and didn't try to go out in a t-shirt. So it was really dropping, and by the time she left, it was really cold out there. And I know that 50, some of y'all may be going, oh, 50's not cold. It is very cold when it's wet, because it is very wet outside. We've had storms the last several days. So it is a cold and wet. And I don't know about everybody else, but I don't manage cold and wet very well. I can manage wet, I can manage cold. But the two together, it is definitely, definitely different. All right. So moving right along, I'll cover my whips, and I'm going to start with the one that is oh so close. It should be done next week. And this is the Zuri Sweater by Tox Knits. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I've got about another 2 to 2.5 inches to go, just straight stockinette. And then I will do the cabling along the bottom and then this little bit of a hem. And I will get that bound off, and that will be done. I will have this done and blocked. I'm hoping that I can get this knitted, that I'll get it done no later than Saturday. It's Wednesday today because I do record on Wednesdays, and then I put it out on Saturdays. So it is hopefully going to be completely off my needles by Saturday, and then I will block it and have it all ready to wear next episode. And I should have turned on my ceiling fan because it's a little warm in my house. It's really cold outside, but it's a little warmer in my house. So this hopefully next week, and next week I will wear this, even if I have to turn on my ceiling fan and have to sit here and sweat a little bit. This one will be off the needles and I will be wearing it. And this is, didn't tell y'all about the yarn. And actually I want to take just a minute to talk a little bit more about this. I told you it's the Zuri Sweater by Tox Knits, and it's got this beautiful little cable pattern, and this is a 4-stitch cable. It's just a really simple cable. It's not hard at all. You could absolutely do this without a cable needle. And it's the detail in the raglan, and I really like that. It just adds a little bit of interest. I've shared before, I am all about staple pieces in my wardrobe. I like some really basic, just nice sweaters that don't have to be like all this color work and all of these cable. I love those sweaters too, but I have to be more thoughtful about how I, style them and what I wear them with. I'm not going to throw a cabled sweater on with a pair of sweats, most likely. Stockinette sweater? Probably going on with a pair of sweats, a pair of tennis shoes, and I'm heading to the store. This one, maybe I need a pair of jeans instead of a pair of sweats, but it is still just a raglan, and I just like this little bit of interest that you get right here at the raglan, at the sleeves, and then it will be again at the hem. Now, knit this out of Knitting for Olive, merino, and soft silk mohair held together in the colorway Blue Tint. I've shared, if you've been watching my channel long enough to have seen me talk about this, this is now my favorite colorway in Knitting for Olive, and my favorite color is pink. And I I really enjoy their pink daisies, but this color, it just speaks to me, and I have it in every base they have it in. I have it in the merino, the soft silk mohair, obviously, holding these two together. I have it in the heavy merino, and I have it in their pure silk. If they had it in cotton merino or cashmere, I would buy it in that as well. And if they do have it in the cashmere, because I haven't honestly looked, you might let me know. I might need to buy some. All right. This is, like I said, just a lovely little interest in the cabling pattern here. There's just a little bit of interest there, and it's by Tox Knits. She does have this pattern in a t-shirt and in a cardigan as well. And so if the long pullover is not your jam, go check those out. And she has some other very lovely sweaters, a semi-sweater, which I think is a V-neck. She has a nice catalog of designs, especially to be a new designer. All right. Now next up, and I'm bringing this in, I want to talk for just a second about this bag. So I've got this little bag. I'm trying to keep my knits, something like this where it tends to get tangled up with my other knits. I'm trying to be thoughtful about putting it in a bag so that it doesn't get tangled up. And this bag was brought to me by the best bestie that's ever bestied in the universe, in the history of the universe, right? And that is my best friend, Michelle. She went with her husband last September on a trip to Argentina, and she brought me this backpack. Does she know me or does she know me, right? Woo, these are my colors. Yes, they are. And now, I don't know what she was thinking about going on an international trip with her husband. Who would have thought that she would do that instead of taking me along? And I don't understand why they didn't just let me go along with them. Obviously, I am completely joking about all of that. I am very, very happy that they got away. They do take international trips about every couple of years or so. So I'm always happy to see them go and enjoy their life together as they should. And I'm really happy that they're able to do that. And we always, anytime that we travel, we do bring things back for each other. And so this was the one that she brought back to me, as well as the fact that we are going to plan a trip to Argentina. Not exactly sure when, but we are going to go over there. There is apparently a yarn store or a yarn street in Buenos Aires, and she stopped counting at 11, and the exchange rate is great. So, guys, I might need 2 or 3 suitcases to bring back all the yarn that I'll bring back from over there. But we are planning a trip to go over there and hang out a little bit in Argentina and do a little yarn shopping. So that's the story of this bag. And in the bag, I have my little Edinburgh sweater that is a buddy knit with my friend Dana. She is doing the colors that Cheryl Makatari, which... yeah, I'm just going to forget about what she calls herself knitting-wise. It's Cheryl Makatari. And she is doing the colors that Cheryl used, which is a beige and a black. And I am obviously not. This is Romeo and Neve. And this is the Cardiff Cashmere Classic. So they call this a DK. And I think it does bloom out to become a DK. But it is really more of a sport weight. But I just love this. The colors are just so stunning, and I have gotten done with the color work. So I am now down here where I am just doing solid blue. I've got to do some short rows, and then I will be splitting for sleeves. Now, I need to try this on because I haven't since I finished it, but actually I have. I take that back. I did try it on, and I do need to do the short rows and do a few more rows of knitting before I split for sleeves, because it's not quite, I could split it right now for sleeves, but it would be kind of tight up under here, and I would like just a little bit of room. I do like a little room. You can see this is nice, and you know, it doesn't drape down, but I do have a little bit of space in the yoke area. So I am going to go ahead. I think there's 6 rows that I do before I knit the short rows, and then I will split for sleeves. So I will get that done by next week. I'll have it split for sleeves. And then after I knit a few rows after splitting, then I will turn and I will do the sleeves and get those out of the way. This is one I have been trying to do a vlog video on this with like the whole process. Guys, I have to be honest about it. I'm not enjoying the process. So I don't think I'm going to continue with that process. I've run out of room on my iPhone that I've been using to do it with. I'm not having a whole lot of fun having to remember to bring out the tripod and set it up so that I can get video of me knitting it. I will probably put a little bit of that video in whenever I get this to be a finished object. And I have a video of me and Dana together, and I will get a picture of the two of us wearing our sweaters together as well. But I think this is just going to become a part of the weekly podcast. And there won't be any exciting stuff until I get like a sleeve done or anything. But I will pull it out and show y'all where I'm at. And oh, isn't this just stunning? And guys, I've said this a lot of times, and I'm going to say it again. If you have at all the financial resources to be able to buy even 1 or 2 balls of this to make a little Sophie scarf or a Sophie shawl or anything, it is worth buying some cashmere in order to experience it once in your life. And it doesn't have to be Cardiff cashmere. There's Pasquale. There's, I think Lana Grossa has a cashmere. You can get cashmere cones. I do have a video all about my yarn buying secrets, and I talk about how much more economical it is to buy cashmere on a cone. I mean, this right here, these two right here, those are 100% DK weight cashmere yarn, and kind of a light DK, sportish. It's 300 meters per 100 grams. So, I mean, there are ways to buy it where it's much more economical, or if, like I said, if you can just afford to get 1 or 2 balls to make a scarf or anything, it truly is such a treat, and it's such a luxury. And so if you do have the financial, the financial ways to do it, then this is a great thing to try. If you don't, there is an alternative to this. There are a couple of alternatives. There is a merino, and the micron count is, I'm trying to think, it's really low, and it's termed the merino version of a cashmere. It's really, really soft. And so you would just need to check the micron count. It would be one that's like really low, like down in like 19, 20. I think that's right. I think the higher the micron count, the more rustic it is, and the lower, I may be wrong. But anyway, it will be much closer to a cashmere micron count than a merino micron count. And then another one, llama, is really, really soft, and I would say that it rivals cashmere for its softness, but llama is about 1/6 of the price of cashmere. So it is a nice alternative as well. So if you can get your hands on either one of those would be really nice alternatives to cashmere. It truly is a luxury yarn. And I realize how blessed I am that I'm able to afford a sweater quantity in it. So I want you to know I'm very thankful. All right, putting that away, let's switch to some new cast-ons and then some plans for new cast-ons. So I told y'all last week, because I lasted a whole week and a half without a test knit on my needles before the test knit bug got me. Although, in all fairness, I did say whenever I said I'm laying off of test knits, and I feel like from A League of Their Own, I think it was Dottie's sister who, she couldn't hit a fastball, but she couldn't lay off the fastballs. I feel the same way about test knits. I can't lay off the test knits. But I did say, when I said I was going to stop test knitting for a while, I did say there would be designers that I really wanted to test knit for. And there would be patterns that, like the winter sole, that were just so stunningly beautiful that they took my breath away, and I just felt like I needed to apply. Well, this one was on the designer side. And this is the Waffle Tee. I'm showing you the stitch pattern. This is the little swatch. And it's a nice, this will be in the yoke, so it won't be all over, but it's a nice little lace pattern. And it is the Waffle Tee by Sophie. I forget her last name, but it's the Knit Pearl Girl. And she put out a test call. I answered it. I did get picked. And last week I asked y'all, what yarn should I knit it in? My choices were this beautiful red by Juniper Moon, which is Zoe, or I have Ito Pure Silk. It's Kinu, I think it's called. And I was going to hold those together. Well, let me just tell you, as I started knitting this swatch up, there are knit 4 togethers and slip, 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 slip knits. Let me say that again. Knit 4 together and slip, 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 slip knit. That is a whole lot of stuff to have on the needles. And I started out trying to swatch with this red because, the overwhelming majority of you told me red. And what I had decided to do was I was just going to go ahead and do the swatch in both the red and the blue, so that whichever one everybody thought I should do, I would be able to do it. Well, I started trying to swatch with it. This has enough linen in it. Trying to do a knit 4 together on a 2.5 US, which is like a 3 millimeter, I think, really small. It was not happening. It was not fun, and no, I wasn't doing slip, 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 slip knits. It was, this has too much linen in it. It's too stiff of a yarn when you're knitting with it. I would have been in pain the entire time I was working with it. So I was like, don't think I'm going to do that. So I thought about swatching with the blue, but it was going to be, I was going to have to hold two together because they're lace. And I'm going to be quite honest, at the point that I have to knit four together, you're talking about 8 little individual strands of yarn that I have to make sure I grab all of them and get the yarn through. I don't want to do that either. So I got to looking, because the final weight is sport. And so I got to looking in my stash, and I had this beautiful, beautiful Noro Sonata. And while, yes, it's a fuchsia and it's obviously not red, it does have a red kind of undertone. So I decided this was a nice compromise. I did do the swatch, and as you can see, it just swatched up beautifully. And so I have cast this on, and I have gotten, I haven't gotten the lace done yet. There's two options. There's one where the lace comes down further, and then there's one where the lace ends and you have more solid coverage. I think I'm going to do the one where the lace comes down further. I'm going to actually get done with the option 2, that is the one that ends earlier and has more coverage. At the point that I get to there, I'm going to try it on and see where the lace hits. I don't really want lace all the way down past my bust, because I don't want to have to worry about wearing something under this. I can handle it if you can see like the top of my bra or the strap, but I don't want my entire, bust area to be screaming out, "Woo, look at what color bra she's wearing." So I'll look and see where option 2 is, because I'm short, so therefore I'm going to have a shorter yoke, but I think I'll be okay with option 1. And guys, y'all think I'm fast? There are people that are already working on the body. They've already split for sleeves, and I've gotten this far. So I've got this little bit here, and that's one section. There's 3 or 4 sections where you do the lace, and then you have this 2 purl rows. And so I did the very first part, I did the purl rows, and now I'm on the second part. It's knitting up really fast, and I had to go up to, because this should be, my little swatch here should be 5 inches, and it's not, it's about 4.5. And so I went up to a size US 3 to get gauge, and so that's what I'm knitting on. To be that small of a needle, honestly, it really is going quite quickly. And so this is the new test knit cast on by the Knit Pearl Girl. It's the Waffle Tee. It's absolutely stunning. I cannot wait. Hopefully next week I'll have quite a bit more done, because now my other need to get it done and on a deadline, that baby blanket's off my needles, so I'll be able to relax a little bit. And so next week, hopefully maybe I'll have it split for sleeves, but we'll see. But this again is the Noro Sonata, and it is in the colorway magenta, right? Perfect name. It is a magenta yarn. The other thing that I cast on, I asked y'all last week for another color help, and that was for the buddy knit that I'm doing with Chelsea over on Sunday Knitting Society. And guys, if you like my podcast, you should really check her out. She is from the next state over. She's from Oklahoma. She lives about 3 hours. I think it's about 3 hours to Oklahoma City. She lives about 3 hours from me. And we have a lot of the same vibes. She's very laid back. We knit a lot of the same kind of aesthetics. We seem to have some of the same experiences. So if you like my podcast, I'm sure that you'll like her podcast. And you should absolutely go check her out. And so she reached out a couple of weeks ago. She didn't reach out. She said on her podcast that she wanted to do the Bookclub Raglan, but she needed somebody to help her keep on track. So if anybody was interested in doing a buddy knit or anything like that, to reach out to her. So I reached out to her, and so now we're doing a buddy knit, and it is the Bookclub Raglan. And I asked y'all last week, I gave y'all choices. There was a blue, there was a pink, there were a couple of burgundies, and then there's this beautiful chocolate brown. And overwhelmingly, I would say 99% of the people who answered said do the chocolate brown. And they said it was because my eyes lit up and how my face looked. And I have to admit, love a chocolate brown. It is beautiful. And so I was really worried that you wouldn't be able to see the cables. And honestly, yes, you cannot see these cables as well as if I were doing it in the blue or the pink or anything else. But you can see the cables, and look at how beautiful that is. I cannot wait. Now, I'm a little worried. This yarn is solidly a DK. It is 240 meters per 100 meters. Solidly DK. But it seems a little on the thin side to me, even though at 240, it should be considered a heavy DK or a light worsted. And it is not knitting up like it's a light worsted. It seems a little smaller. So what I am doing is I am going to, well, I'm going to do one of two things. Right now, if I put this over, because I'm going to join this in the round. If I put this here, I've got like 48 more stitches that will be increased because I've got 7 more rows. And on 3 of those, how was it? I had 5, whatever it was. I have quite a few. I can't do math. I have quite a few more increases. And so I'm going to try to hold it up here. And whenever I get ready, obviously I don't want it like this, but if it looks right to join in the round, I'll probably keep going. But if I have any questions, what I'll do is I will put this on some try-on cords, and I will block it and make sure that I get gauge. So this is the Bookclub Raglan by Zuri Nordland, and I'm knitting this out of 100% merino yarn that I bought at Woolly Yarn, which is in Latvia. It's in Latvia. I think, no. It's either in Latvia or Lithuania. I don't remember. I do cover where it's at in my Yarn Buying Secrets video. But I bought a cone of it. It's no longer available. So that's the thing. Once it's gone, it's gone. But I bought 700 grams of this. So I have plenty of yarn to do this. And so I will just continue to knit this up and should be joined in the round and hopefully have a bit of it knitted up by next week. I did just get another phone call from the same place that called me a while ago. If they call a third time, I am going to pause this and go and answer it because it could very well be about a job. All right. Those are the 2 that I've cast on. Now I have 2 more that I am planning to cast on by next week. One of them, I've done the swatch, and this is for my brother's Christmas sweater. And this is Ecological Wool by Cascade, and it is the color Ebony. Now, that's misleading because this is obviously a beautiful chocolate brown. It is not black. When I hear ebony, I think ebony and ivory, you know, piano keys. Ebony is the black keys, so therefore this should be black. It's not. Whatever, they can name them whatever they want to. But I did a swatch, got exactly gauge, so I'm going to be knitting this on the suggested needle, which is a US size 6. And this is what I am going to knit. Okay? Now, I will also put a picture up here so that y'all can see it a little bit better, but it's Scottish Elle, and it's by Wise Owl Knits. My brother watches this podcast. So, I want y'all to comment. This sweater is knitted in pieces from the bottom up, and it is then sewn together. And it is 100% fully cabled. I would like y'all, because y'all know how much this is going to be, to let my brother know just how much I love him, because I am going to knit him this sweater and in a dark brown yarn. I truly do love my brother. And I kind of think it'll be cool that we'll both have dark brown cabled sweaters, which I'll get back to something in just a second, because I did have something on this that I had an aha moment, and I'll share that in just a second. But that is what I am going to knit for my brother for Christmas this year. And then I thought I brought the pattern that I'm going to actually use the red juniper moon for. And obviously I didn't. It is, I'll put it up on the screen. I'll get a picture of it. But we're doing a knit along at the yarn shop, and we're casting on tomorrow night. And I bought this yarn from Letha about a year ago, and it's been in my stash, so I have pulled it out. And she had some suggestions for, you know, tees and accessories and stuff, but she said, you know, whatever you want to knit, just knit whatever. And to be entered in the prize, you have to have bought the yarn from her. I think that's absolutely fair. I don't care if I win anything or not. I just want to be a part of it. And I'm really excited about being able to use this red yarn. And I am going to use it for what I planned on instead of repurposing it for the Waffle Tee. So I am going to have something that I'm knitting up in this. And that will be cast on next week. All right. Now that is all my future plans. And I want to tell you all about my little aha moment. So if you do charts, you know that when you do a make one left and a make one right, there's like a little, and I'll get a picture of the legend showing it, but there's a little like straight line and then a little curved line for a make one right, and then this way for make one left. I just realized as I was knitting this Bookclub Raglan, and I have knit a lot of things for charts that have make one rights and make one lefts. With the Raglan, I don't really have to think about it a lot because I know that as I'm coming up to the stitch marker, that's a right. As I'm going away, it's a left, because the whole point of doing that for sleeves and stuff is you want it to grow like this. So it is smaller up here and it gets larger. Never did it dawn on me that the little symbol points to which way you're doing. So if it's a straight line and it's pointing right, you're doing a make one right. If it's a straight line and it's pointing left, you're doing a make one left. Hopefully I'm not the only person that did not realize that and just had this epiphany of, oh, look, the line points which way you're making one. Please reassure me that I'm not the only person that missed that all of these years of knitting. But be that as it may, I did figure that out. I did want to share with you. So for new knitters, that's something that would be very important, right? And so make one left, you're coming from the back to the front and you're knitting through the front this way. And it's making that this way. From this way, you're going from the front to the back, you're knitting through the back loop, and it makes it go this way. So those little lines are pointing which way you go. All right, so my little epiphany for the week. The things you learn, right? You should learn something every single day. My grandfather was 95 when he died, and he said the day that he didn't learn something, he would be ready to go. He said he learned something every single day that he was alive. And I strive to do that as well. This one was an easy one, but hey, I learned it. All right, and then finally, I do have a couple of acquisitions. One of them you will not be surprised by. I had to buy the yarn to make my brother's sweater. So I got 5 balls of this to make his sweater. Again, let him know how much I love him. His little sister does really love him. And so I got these from Letha. She ordered them for me whenever I told her what color I wanted. And the way that I picked out this color was, if you go look at the Scottish Ale pattern page on Ravelry and you go into projects, the very first one is somebody, well, not the very first one in the projects. I think it's if you go to Yarn Ideas and then you see Ecological Wool, because that's the kind that they recommend. That's the recommended yarn. You click on that, and then the very first one of those is this beautiful chocolate brown. And so I knew I wanted to use that. So Letha ordered it in for me. I bought this Thursday and I did my swatch this weekend. And then my other acquisition, and let me say, as far as paying for it, acquired it on January the 1st, because I ordered this yarn on January the 1st from Wool & Company. And it said it was a special order and it would ship within, or I would receive it in like 1 to 3 weeks, I think, or ship within 1 to 3 weeks, something like that. Well, that's this Rama Feeble, and it is, you can see I'm starting to enter my red phase. This is for the Staffen sweater by Creabea. It's one of the recommended yarns, and I decided I wanted to use the recommended yarn, and I wanted this beautiful red color. I knew I was going to use red. I had actually bought a cone of merino from Woolly Yarn in red to do it with, but I decided I really wanted to use the Feeble and see how I liked that before I invested in buying, well, before I go to Norway and I decide that I'm going to buy a whole bunch of this yarn and bring it back with me. I want to make sure that I do like it. So I got this, and I ordered it January the 1st with some other stuff. I got all the other stuff. After about a month, I called Wool & Company. I'm like, hey, where's this at? And they're like, it's still coming. Okay, great. I called back again after it'd been like 6 or 7 weeks, and I was like, it's been a while. Can you tell me where it's at? Can we contact Rama and just make sure they haven't forgotten? And so they did, but long story short, they did offer, they were wonderful. They offered to either give me a refund or I could pick a different color that they had in stock. Well, the problem was all of the colors I wanted, they would have had to order, so I wouldn't have been any better off. So I thought about switching and getting the VAMs, but I really wanted to use the Feeble. So long story short, on the 26th, so last week, it finally, I think it was Thursday. It was supposed to be here Wednesday. Didn't get here Wednesday in time to show y'all on the podcast, but on Thursday, it showed up at my house, and now I have an entire sweater quantity of this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful red color. And this is going to have to go on my needles before too terribly long. So, those are my acquisitions. I didn't get the yarn for Brandon's Moose sweater yet because all of the colors have not come in. That will be a purchase. I do have something coming from Wool Warehouse and something from Pearl Soho. I know I said I wasn't buying yarn, but yeah, we all know I lie about things like that. Not intentionally, I have the best intentions, but then Pearl Soho does a 40% off sale, and I was able to get some of their mohair that I've been wanting to try, and then their DK knitting yarn just to see if I like it. It's like Good Wool. Good Wool's a little bit heavier, I think, and then the knitting yarn is a little bit lighter, and they do the DK knitting yarn on a cone. I wasn't able to get the color in the cone I wanted. I got just some skeins of it just to see if I like it, and if I do, I'll buy some of the cones later. And then I think I'm going to pull the trigger on a Wool Warehouse as well. I mean, not Wool Warehouse, Wool and Company. We'll see. I am insane. What can I say? I love yarn. So, and the good news is, because I've monetized my channel, thanks to all of you who subscribe to my channel and have watched my videos, I've been able to monetize. And so that means that all of this yarn that I am purchasing and I'm showing y'all and I am talking about is all tax deductible. So yay! All of this stuff that I'm buying right now, I can actually take off of my taxes next year, so that's exciting. Not that I'm making a lot of money on this at all, and I don't expect to make a lot of money. It's just nice to have a little bit of income coming in and be able to take something off my taxes. So, with that, again, thank you, everybody. Thank you for everybody who has subscribed. Oh, which, speaking of subscribers, I had the giveaway last week, and I have completely drawn a blank of the lady's name. I'll put it down here, who won the free pattern. And I was able to gift that to her. She was very, very nice. I announced it on the community. And, you know, she came on and told me thank you and everything. So I'm really excited to see her work those up and hear about how things are going. Congratulations again. And yeah, we'll do a giveaway again in the future. Maybe if I get to 5,000 subscribers. That should be the next goal. Let's do 5,000 and see what happens. And see if we can get there. And then I'll do another giveaway. And until then, thank you, everybody. If you are new here and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so, because it really does help out my channel. And it's just a free way that you can support my channel. All right. Well, thank you again. I will see y'all next week. And until then, have a fantastic knitty week. Bye.